welcome everybody, and thank you for joining us today. I'm Manuel. A few of you, I can see a few names that are recognized from the past webinar, or a few friends, so thank you for joining. And I'm very excited today about this topic. I have discussed this in the last couple of weeks, also in two podcasts, one with Kelly Parker on his Brave Ideas Deep Dive, and the other one on the co-working podcast with Bernie. So that was a nice conversation, and it's about data. And today we use a lot of data-driven and data-driven decision, and we try to make the best of the data. However, I think it's important to make sure that rather than just getting numbers right, we get the right numbers. And the reality is, I speak every day with operators, and often I see that the vision on the data is very narrow, and this gives only part of the picture. And also, once we have the data, we need to see how we're gonna use those data to make sure that we take conscious decision. But last and not least, it's important that we realize that tech is not there for the sake of being there or to please techie people, but data are there to make sure that we are more human. We can spend more time with the customers. We can have more interaction. The reason why people are coming to a co-working space, coming to a building where you can have a service office or meeting rooms, is not just to bring more data, is to have human interaction, to meet their clients, to grow their business, to have important meetings about their investment. So that's the main reason why all of this in the flex industry exists. So I hope that this webinar will going to give you a few insights on how the concept of data can be approached. So what we're going to cover today. So first, the three biggest pitfalls that I have seen over the last 18 months, and since we have started Pont and all the conversation that we had, and why metrics like purely occupancy or revenue alone can actually bring you to blind spot and actually make you miss the big picture. How to track the right numbers, okay, not just more numbers. What are really the key differentiator factor that can really make your business more competitive and more able to generate revenue, and also to be able to increase your margin. And then we're going to have a demo about how we're going to actually put all those numbers in place. And of course, this is going to do through Pont, that is the company that I'm leading. By the end of this session, you will have a clear action steps on how to make sure that you can measure the right data, and without adding unnecessary complexity. I always say, as I discussed this also with Caleb in the last podcast, start small and make sure that you have the right numbers in place to measure the right things. Before we deep dive on the topic of the webinar, so a little bit the birth about Pont. In this picture, you can see myself and my co-founder Simon. We have spent cumulatively about 25 years in the industry, and we have experienced firsthand how the manual processes and fragmented system can actually impact the real value of a co-working and service office space. We had 18 months ago a dream to be able to empower and to let operators focus on what really matters, which is delighting the customers. I go back again on the point of really spending more time with your customers. And this is what really we built over the last 18 months with Pont. And the journey that we have been has been a roller coaster, as you can imagine, but very, very exciting, speaking with many people, great people, but also, be able to help and support operators like you on streamlining operation and making sure that, you can restore the margin and the profit that then will embrace grow, and for which the entire industry is going to win. without further ado, let's jump on the three biggest pitfalls that we have encountered in our journey, and why traditional tracking methods may fail to deliver the real value. So, tracking revenue without tracking profitability, and this may sound obvious, but we worked a couple of months ago with an operator, and when we started the journey together, we asked the classical question, what is your occupancy? And the operator was, my occupancy is this, right? So my center manager is giving me, this is my occupancy. And his occupancy was okay, around maybe 60-65%. So not fantastic, but it was there. Yet when we imported all the data automatically into Pont, we actually saw that, yes, the office occupancy was 60-65%, but actually the workstation occupancy was 20-21%. So basically, he was occupying the rooms, but actually was occupying the rooms with not enough people. He could actually maybe restructure or refurnish the rooms and reconvert them in other type of spaces. It could be meeting rooms, could be event, but actually his belief that he had a good occupancy actually was not making money and generate profit accordingly. So this was really important. It was for this person a aha moment. So he said, okay, I really didn't get this, because he was just focusing on occupancy. And a full space also doesn't mean an optimal pricing strategy. We're working with an operator that is not in the UK. And actually, he discovered through the data that his meeting rooms were used absolutely for free by customers, because he's very open space. His customer has service offices, private service offices. They were just walking into a meeting room, use the meeting rooms, and walk away. Now, you may say, listen, I would never do this in my space, in my buildings. Okay, but just know that you don't know what you don't know. So it's important to make sure that you measure those things, because then you can surface and listen, hey, I actually have my meeting rooms almost fully occupied during the week, but then there is no money generated through this bookings and occupancy in the meeting rooms. So really make sure that you focus on the right number again. And the last part is that we need to make sure that the data are not just confused. So something that we're going to see, shortly in the demo that I'm going to show you, is that you want to make sure that you collect the right data, you collect the revenue, but then you also want to attach cost with those revenue, because then you want to understand what is your real ROI, how you are dispatching your cost. Are those your costs distributed among your buildings, all your buildings, or they are specific to a building? Do you have a building that is more costly than your other building, and why is that? So you want to make sure that you have a good understanding and you're able to connect multiple data points to make sure that really you optimize your space. And remember, when you do this, it's not just about the money. It's about the service quality that you deliver to your client. Okay, so having a single metric that probably, at least in our experience, most of the time is, okay, what is my occupancy and what is my revenue? This can actually lead to a number of mistakes. So make sure that you can measure all of it. What we're going to see later in the demo, we're going to see of course, revenue and profit. We're going to see the operations, how your team are performing with your customer, how many invoices you generated, and how many have been paid, how many have been unpaid. What is the tracking of your tickets, for example? So we're going to see all of those things to make sure that you can really have the big picture in mind of your space and your buildings. So what is the shift that can really unlock the profitability of your business, right? So I said earlier, and I admit that I use this very much as a catchphrase, because I think it is. It's just not the numbers right, but to get the right numbers. Okay, so The profitability per location. So some of you may have just one building, but some of you may have multiple buildings. So how you can really understand the locations and how they perform, where the area where they are in, and actually how you can adjust your investment strategically, right? So you may have a fantastic building that is not in a great area. So how you can make it more attractive, and how you can convert, for example, your products to make sure that, they're going to perform better. We discussed in the previous webinar about how creating hybrid memberships and, using maybe the virtual office to make sure that you can create more products and different products for your customers. Understanding the averages. So this, in our experience with Simon and I, is something that we have used quite a lot. And when I'm talking this to many operators, they don't seem to use it very much. Maybe you use. I'm curious to hear what your experience is. But understanding the average is very, very important, because you want to try to have a median number that make you understand how your business is doing. And of course, you have nuances, and you need to understand the context. So there is a lot of if and a lot of exceptions. But having the average. So what is your average contract length? What is your average contract value? What are the average workstation that you have? What is the pricing per inventory that you can have? So all of those things really make sure that in a glance you can understand how your business is in your buildings are performing. The contract value and the retentions rate. So you will see in the demo, and we actually created the data to show you very quickly. You could say, listen, oh, this is going wrong in this business. Okay, those are test data, but it will give you an idea of how that works. So try to understand how what is your churn rate, and in order that you can actually anticipate and make a forecast of your contract. So if you see that you don't have any new starter coming in, I don't know, June, maybe you don't think about that now, because you are heads down on running your operations, delighting your current customers. But then no more customers are coming, and at the same time you have contracts ending. So you will try to renovate those contracts, but not always goes right. So making sure that you understand really what is the contract value, and also how is your churn rate happening. And finally, is really trying to understand the efficiency. So, something that we have in Pont and our customers use is the ticketing system. So making sure that, your customers don't need to come at the time of the reception or send you an email that, then they go lost, but they can actually open directly from the mobile app a ticket for any reason. Could be from, facility management, IT, billing, whatever. You can decide the categories that you want, but you want to make sure that customers, when it's really customer service in the purest sense of it, so you want to make sure that your operations are running smoothly and your customers are happy. There is nothing as bad as having a bad reputation in terms of customer service, in particular in an industry that is growing very much. So now your customers have become much more demanding, and the customer service matters. So you want to make sure that you're running your operations in the right way. Again, not the numbers right, but the right numbers. So member engagement. How your members are using your spaces. What product are they buying? How they are utilizing, what is your peak hour? So if now I'm asking, okay, what is your peak days in your buildings? I'm sure that some of you will be able to answer this question, but I ask a few of those questions, and quite often I would say, listen, Mondays and Fridays are more free. Yes, but okay, how can you utilize those pattern to make sure that you can reinvent a little bit your products, or reinvent your business, or create new events to use better the space that you have? So trying to understand really how your members engage with you. What are you doing? What are they doing mostly with the tools that you provide them? List price against the sold price. This is also very important. So another operator in the UK that we were working on, he took a building that, as a management contract, something that is very common nowadays, I believe. And basically, he discovered that the salesperson was actually underselling almost everything. Probably that salesperson wasn't the best sales possible, fair, but at the same time, understanding what is your list price that you're trying to price against the market, and then what you sell your space, what value you're selling, because at the same time you don't want to underprice, because then it's going to be very, very difficult to then grow the price later. So making sure that you have a good understanding, and we'll see this in the demo, I think is going to be key for you. And then also, for example, looking at the earnings per inventory type. So how your products are performing, right? So you may have, the impression that your meeting rooms are performing very well, but actually you will discover that your meeting rooms, you don't have enough margin to make them profitable. I think it's very clear that at the moment that you involve a human being just to book a meeting rooms, your margin is gone in terms of efficiency of the person and the time that that person will spend, and the value and the cost of that person to just book a meeting room. So really trying to understand all of those things. So it is really trying to make sure that you can see beyond the metrics, okay? And making sure that when you look at the data, when you collect the data, you can take strategic actions with those data, okay? So you want to unlock real profitability. Pre-COVID, the profitability of co-working space was probably around 20, 25, for the good ones. Today, I speak with some operators around 12, some 10, maybe someone hopes to go back to 15. So how you can really unlock this type of values. And you can do this if you are actually collecting the right data and making sure that those data will support you to take the right decision. Okay, so I'm just going to catch my breath, check if there are any questions so far. No. Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to jump straight into the demo. I try to make sure that those webinars don't catch too much and don't take too much of your time. I know how busy you are, and I want to make sure that you can really try to get the best out of it. So this is what you are seeing here is the back office of Pond, our platform, and is a platform that really can help you streamline all your operation and manage completely all your buildings. What we're focusing right now, it's really about the reporting. So there is a section that is specific to reports, and what is nice about this and the work that we're doing with our customers is that some of the reports, we didn't have them in mind. Our customers listen, oh, you know what, I would like this report. And this is what we can do. We can actually develop those things, and everyone is going to benefit. It's going to be a win-win scenario for everybody. So we have a set of reports here. And let's start with the revenue and profit. So here, my building is called, so my operator here is called Work-Life Balance, and my building is called Harmony. I can have other buildings, but for the sake of the demo, I will just stick with this one. So the first thing that I can see is that the system will show me by default, 6 months before and 6 months after today. So here, I don't have data for August to September and October because I start my building just in November. And then I can see that this is for office. So I was generating not too bad, £23,000, now 27. But also the system is showing me what is the potential additional revenue that I could have made. And this is a key information for me to really try to make the best of the buildings that I have. Here, at the same time, I can see the same information as numbers because, I'm a very visual person, but maybe some of you prefer to see the numbers. We're going to then see, because I'm sure that this might be a question, okay, can I export this data? Yes, you can export this data. We're going to discuss this in a second. But so first of all, I can actually see all the data here, and I can see how the change is applying, and I can put threshold to say, listen, if here, for example, the threshold I put is 25% in configuration. So the system is telling me, listen, here there is something that is not good enough. Okay, so this, just like this, gives me a nice picture of what I can do. Now I can say, listen, okay, you know what? I want to see the co-working desk. Perfect. Now I'm seeing the co-working desk, different numbers, and also the situation, here on purpose is a little bit negative, but I'm sure that your buildings are doing much better than my Harmony building and the work-life balance operators. I can then apply this for meeting room as well. So, and I can see that February was a good month, but December wasn't so good, and so on and so forth. So I can really apply all of this. Now, what about revenue and cost? So in Pont, we have a feature that we believe is super important, that you can track your cost. And you can put your recurring costs, like could be billing, electricity bills, or commodities. You can put your ordinary maintenance, your extraordinary maintenance. So you can really track the cost for your building, and this will be able to give you the right picture in terms of ROI. So how am I performing? Are my revenue bigger than my cost? Now, in this picture here, I wanted to show a happy path with even 50% or 56% of margin. So, which is nowadays, with everything is going on, is probably a little bit optimistic. But again, this is to make sure that one really screen, you can understand how you're performing, and you can see what is going on in your building, and you could do that for all your building at the same time. So quite powerful as sort of reporting. Let's jump on other reports that we can have, and then I would be very, very interested to hear your questions and your ideas. But let's talk about, for example, the averages. So here we have put just a set of averages, but remember, sky is the limit. So the system contains all the information, and we can manipulate the data as we want. So here we have the office average contract value. So I'm actually seeing that it's not going too bad. So the line is positive, and over time is going up. So no, this cannot take into consideration of course, the possible churn rate if someone wants to terminate the contract, but at least it shows you how the average contract value is growing. And so I'm actually seeing that there is a very nice grow over the months, so which is a good news for me as an operator. Now, also the contract duration is actually getting longer, so my sales team is actually doing well because they're trying to engage with the customer for a longer period, and then you can apply your flexibility. You can have month-to-month contracts, you can have 3-6 months contracts because you have a better price deal. So this is really up to you and up to your business. But in this way, I can immediately visually see what's going on. Now, what about workstation though? So for some reason here, the contracts are longer. I'm selling better because my contract value is growing, but actually the number of workstation is decreasing. So is this a good news? It is bad news? Not sure, but I would say that at least here, I'm seeing lines going up at the same time, and I'm seeing lines going down. So this will immediately make sure that you can say, listen, okay, is this okay? Is there anything that I can change for my business? So this is why the right data are important, because they can immediately make you understand how you can improve your business to make sure that it grows properly. So what other numbers we can see? So let's now jump onto the operations. Okay, we're going to see all of them, of course, but let's jump onto operations. So operation, I can see now the invoice status. So those are the invoices that I got out, and those are the paid ones. And that actually, so it's not too bad as my unpaid amounts are relatively small. Of course, we want this to be zero all the time, but it's not going too bad. Now, I may anticipate a question that you may have. Is this integrated with your finance system? Yes, it is. So we are integrated with the finance system like Xero. We are now integrated with Sage. So we can actually make sure that your finance team, where they're going to do all the accounting, we are not an accounting platform, but we can reconcile the information properly and make sure that with one place in one place, you can actually see all the information at once. Now, we were discussing earlier about the ticketing, right? So we know that your customers will need things, will need, a query about an invoice. They will have maybe a plumbery or electricity problem in one of the rooms. They will have, a query about maybe some booking, all the things, internet, all the things that you want. So you will create a set of categories for your customers to create tickets. And this will make sure that you don't lose emails. Oh, I sent you an email 2 months ago and you didn't never reply. No, you actually have a very powerful ticketing system that can drives all those things for you. And again, in one picture, you can see, okay, those my tickets, they remain, the average is okay, and my resolution is probably most of the time resolved. I can see how my customers are opening the ticket. It's very important. So here, the majority of the tickets are technical support. Is there anything that I can do in my business to improve my technical support? Because if so many tickets are open, it means that maybe something is not right. So this will really generate some thinking on your side and your teams to make sure that you can apply the right changes on your business. Let's look, for example, the peak usage by hours and by days. So of course, in this sample of data, here you have the Mondays where, the meeting rooms are quite, lower than usual, and Fridays, Monday, Friday, today in hybrid working. This is not a surprise for anyone. But now what we can see is that, for example, here, we actually have a nice way to make sure that maybe we can offer some promotion for meeting rooms between 6 and 7. Or we can actually utilize better certain spaces on the Fridays. Maybe we can organize a breakfast. We can organize, a pre-weekend event. You decide, and you have the, imagination and business ideas to develop all of this. But in 1 second, I can immediately see what's going on in my business. And while none of these, is hidden, you can always ask your staff, you can track all of this, but can you imagine the power to just opening a platform and see immediately what is going on your business? Let's continue with a few other examples. So here we have the operations. We have we have look at the revenue and profit. We look at the averages. Now let's look at the sales team. So you want to know, what is the conversion of my inquiry and tours? Am I going all right? What is the trend? So here I can actually see the conversion rate. I can see how many inquiries and how many tours. What I mentioned earlier during the deck. So list price against sold price analysis. So here you can see that there is someone that wanted to make the numbers in December. So they actually made a much bigger discount. So I can see what is the price that I had. And actually I can see the discount that has been applied. While my average discount is probably below 10, suddenly in December became almost 35%. So these are the right information that will help your team better perform and understanding and be aware on how to do all they need to do. We discussed about the revenue and the costs already. So you can compose the reports as you want. So here there is a report that we already saw in the other page, and then here we have a probably a complex diagram, but not for a salesperson. I can see all the combination of my on my contract analysis. So here I can see all the average contract value. I can see the duration. I can understand how many contracts I have active. So immediately this will give the right information to the right person. But as we're speaking about contracts, let's just jump onto it, because we're going to see very interesting things. So this is for office, but we can pick up another product if we want. So let's go into co-working desk. So here I'm actually saying that, so I have active contracts. So December, apparently, there were, no data there, and the contract active are actually starting, and I have a nice peak happening around April. Then I have some churn, and then I'm getting kind of a sort of pace rate. So immediately here we can see all of this, and I can also, however, understand that actually starting as of May, I have no new contracts starting. So this is a very important message for the sales team. Says, hey, we need more contract, because as of May, I have availability in my building, but actually I don't have any new contract starting. So what can I do with the sales? Can I engage more with more brokers to make sure that they sell more my co-working desk? Or can I make a promotion? Can I create, can I gamify some of my promotions? So this will really, it's already alerting as a message. If I change here, I go back to the office, now the number of contract is quite all right, but again, here I actually have contract ending, but then I have no new contract starting. So this is, it's a very important message. My retention rate, it's quite, probably all right here, around 92, 93%. But and my terminate agreement here are continuing steady. At the same time, I need to make sure that the retention grows and grows. So I can see all of those numbers also in the details to understand, okay, what is the change from my previous month? What is the forecast that I can have? And with all those information, I can take the right decision. We discussed also about one important metric that we want to know when we engage with this. So until now, we look at revenue, profit. We look at occupancy. We look at what are the the operational metrics, the sales metric. But what about my customers? How are they doing? So these, of course, is applied to Pont. In Pont, we do provide a mobile app to our operators that is a branded mobile app. And this means that it's going to be a mobile app with your colors, with your logo, with your product. It's going to be really your app. And here I can actually see what are, how my members are behaving. What are my, active members, the inactive members that are not doing anything, my new members, and also my churn members. And I can see how my members are actually split between products. So in this building, Harmony, I created, I have more private offices or dedicated desk, but this could change. And this can also, give you the inputs to say, okay, you know what? I can actually upgrade certain customer with certain product. I can create a membership that will include my hot desk and some meeting rooms hour. So you can really understand from how your customers are behaving, what product you can offer and you can promote. More importantly, so here, of course, I can see the trend. I can understand, that's relatively standard, but there is a big difference about the fact that, yes, you can have those information, but now I can see those information, and I can see those for all my building or two more building, and I can see how each building is performing. Now let's look at actually to understand how your members are using the product that you give them. So again, I'm going back to the mobile app that we offer with Pont, and here I can see with those data that the usage is growing because my member is growing. So today we all have a mobile app, so I think it's fine. And then the main things that is used the mobile app is the room bookings. And we have a customer in New Zealand that this is when we discussed and about Pont, this is what he wanted. He said, I need a mobile app that my members can just book the meeting rooms on their own. I cannot afford anymore my staff to book meeting rooms for them. And that's not possible anymore. I want them to be autonomous. And this is what we did for them. So here I can see that, mainly the app is used for room bookings, it's made for payments, it can be done for tickets support, but I can have a real understanding of my my customers. Now, the cherry on the cake, I've showed you a lot of reports, but what I haven't mentioned till now is that in Pont we have the possibility for the ones that that you are in a management contract, the management agreement with the landlord, is that actually you can give access, if you want to your landlord to certain reports. So probably the landlord is not interested to all the reports. So maybe you don't want to give them access, but if you do, this is going to save you time to create, the report for the landlord. And all the customers that we speak to, and they have a management agreement, at the beginning without point, they say, listen, oh, I need to create a report for my landlord every 2 weeks or every month. Okay, no, in this way, you can actually give your landlord the access to the report. Of course, they will see real data, so there is no cheating there. So that is a conscious decision that you may want, that you're taking, but it's going to be also an additional possibility for you to have. And of course, you can export all of this. You can select all the type of metrics that you want to export, and then you'll be able to export them by location for all the location. And we know that, all of us love Excel file, and then you're going to be able to play with numbers, trying to extract, try to do. So we give you a lot of power with the reports that we generate, but we also give you the power to extract the data, because first of all, they are your data, and second, because you may want to apply your own intelligence. And as I said at the beginning, we are implementing every day new reports that our customers ask. So in that way, we can actually make the platform grow. And if a customer in Honolulu decide to create a new report, also the customers in the UK or wherever in the world will benefit from those reports. This is the beauty of having a SaaS platform that is not just something bespoke happening. So I try to contain this in a reasonable time, but I hope that this gave you a good view on what we can achieve having not just numbers, but having the right numbers. I'm just going to catch my breath again and maybe open the floor for a few questions. No questions so far. So then let me, okay. Let me then go back on what we offer today to you that attended our webinar. So this is our standard pricing. I'm not gonna spend here too much time, but I'm very excited to actually share a special offer for everybody who attend this this webinar, and this offer is valid for the next 2 weeks. So first of all, differently from our competitors, we do not charge per location. We just do charge per active members, and we offer, an exclusive promotion to get 3 months for free for the next 2 weeks for anybody that registered for a 12-month contract. So this will give you, smart and real-time booking, a mobile app with your brand and your colors for your customers, and it makes sure that you can automate all the operations, and you can really provide a full automation end-to-end, and in particular real-time availability. No problems anymore on making sure that checking if that room has been made available or has been booked by someone, or if someone who gets in is just going to find someone else inside. So all of this will come and will be available for you. So it's important that we understand that we know how busy and how busy you are, and how difficult it is to run and make successful a building where you have co-working or service office or meeting rooms. So the objective is really to make sure that you can drive efficiency and be more competitive and be able to grow. So as I said, for a 12-month contract, we have no particular, hidden cost or anything. There is no catch. It's really, we're trying to make sure that we can empower as many operators as possible. So we are happy to give 3 months for free of our platform. And there is a setup fee. And then, once you're on board, you have onboarded your data, which roughly takes between 4 and 8 weeks, based on how prepared the data you are with your data you are, and then you can really just starting using the system on a daily basis. And this is a limited offer, as I said, so it's going to be active until the 14th of March. So I hope that we're going to be able to to get you on board by then, and you just go to the URL that is there. We're going to also follow up this on the email, which is pond.work/March-promo, and you can just book an appointment, and we're going to start onboarding you and check the details and also answer all the questions that you may have. So I can see a few questions there. So Emmanuel, we are using today Office R&D and we cannot manage cost. Are you able to synchronize the cost, for example, with our finance tools to have a proper picture of our ROI? Yes. So I mentioned earlier that we are integrated with the most common accounting system. So this means that if you track your cost in, let's say, Xero or on your accounting system, you can then import those costs in Pond, and you can track them in Pond directly if you want. But this will make sure that you have in one place the full picture and the source of truth of your data. So yes, absolutely. Does it cost extra to integrate with accounting software? No, it does not cost extra. Our objective is to make sure that we have all the integrations possible that are available, so there is no cost. And what we don't do is that we do not integrate with the custom spreadsheet that a customer may have. But if there is standard tool, there is no additional cost. How can you get as many information as possible of the members? What are your touch points and how we can segment better? So, okay, excellent question. So first of all, we capture, so in the mobile app that we deliver, we capture all the actions that a member do. So we know what it's searched for, we know the pages that were open, we know exactly how much time the person spent on the page, so we can really understand the usage and the behavior of your customers. We can integrate, for example, if in your building you have Solto locks, we are integrated with Solto, so you can actually also use the phone to unlock the doors, which also removes some friction. And so we get all of those information. But then what is important is that we want to give you back the possibility to then segment your users. So maybe we're going to do this in a follow-up demo, or feel free to book an appointment with me to the link that I just shared. But we can actually really give you the possibility to understand what are the customers that book meeting rooms in the last 2 months. And then in this way, you can send an email to all of them and say, hey, there is a special promotion. You want to understand all the customers that are co-working or membership. You want to combine products. So you then going to be able to really segment and understand better your users and your members and make sure that you can make a follow-up. So we have a lot of touch points, and this is, gives you enough represent. A lot of questions today. So ticket resolution. Many flex operators don't have an effective way to manage this internally or interrogate the data. How does your platform enable the collection of tickets from customers? Do you do this directly or integrated with other tools? So Pond offers a proprietary ticketing system that is integrated with the mobile app. So as I was saying, what we have is that I have a problem in, I don't know, silly things. The meeting rooms that I walk in was dirty. Take a picture, open the ticket. Your team is notified in the operator portal that I showed you. And then there is a chat between your member and your staff directly into the app. Said that, to answer your question, Michael, yes, we are integrated with other tools. So we are integrated with HubSpot ticketing system, in case your team is using that. However, our ticketing system for the need of an operator, unless there is there is need of escalation on other things, it's relatively simple. So our tool is fully ready and turnkey solution to be able to be used. There is a feature that is going to be launched in Q2 that might be also quite exciting, which is the possibility of having internal tickets assignment. So make sure that the finance team can assign a ticket to Patricia or to Charles, who are, you know, the general manager in building 1 and building 2, and then they can actually activate the resolution ticket. So we provide enough flexibility, and yes, we do integrate with other tools, and you know, more tools will come. So if some of you may have Zendesk, you know, it's part of the roadmap, for example. I don't know if we have any other question coming through. Looks like there is not. So I'm conscious that this webinar was quite long, but I hope that it gave you the right information, and it, you know, generated some thinking and some imagination on your side. I thank you very much all for listening to me. And remember the link. You're going to also receive a follow-up. So pond.work/March-promo, and feel free to apply. And I see you next month for the next session and next webinar that we're going to run with Pond. Thanks again, everybody, and take care. Bye-bye.